welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be answering a viewer's question. For viewer in question wanted me to talk a little bit about my dog phobia, because he himself, I think, said that he also has a dog phobia and he was interested to know what I thought might be the origins of my dog phobia. So I thought today I'm going to talk to you in the first video mainly here about my dog phobia, and then in the second video I hope to, if there's time, we'll see how we get on, but if there is time I'll guide you through a recipe I've tried recently. Okay, so my dog phobia. Now I can't remember exactly when it started. As far as my memory goes, it's been, well, all through my life. I have been told that there was a time when I was very little, when I wasn't scared of dogs at all. I was actually quite a fearless toddler and very young child. My mum actually once, because I assumed that I was like anxious all my life because I can't actually remember not being anxious, but my mum did once tell me that I was quite a very carefree toddler, pretty risk adverse. Not whisk adverse, that's the wrong word, sorry, I'm not thinking today. What's the opposite of whisk adverse? I was quite a daring toddler, that's it, I was daring. I became more whisk adverse as I got older. But when I was a very small child, I was, according to my mum anyway, I was quite like, I would just wander off and without really a care in the world. I think a lot of my phobias and anxieties developed as I became more aware of the world and my comprehension of the world grew, and that's when they started to hit, unfortunately. But I can't remember that time when I was a very carefree child. I wish I could still be like that. I wish I didn't develop all these phobias, but I think they must have developed quite early on because, like I say, I can't remember that time that my mum used to tell me about when she said it was actually quite unusual compared to the other kids how actually confident I was as a toddler. But anyhow, that was back then. So as I say, I can't remember exactly when this phobia started, but I do remember a white terrier dog barking at me on holiday in Devon as we walked past a house. I don't know if that precipitated the phobia, I might well have had it before then, but that has kind of like stayed in my mind because it obviously left a mark and I was quite scared by this dog suddenly like barking. It didn't, it wasn't an aggressive dog or anything, it was just defending its property, but as we walked by it kind of barked, and that has obviously left an imprint. So yeah, I don't know how old it was, but I would have been pretty young. I developed the phobia despite having my own dog, Jessie, my childhood dog that I grew up with, who I absolutely adored. Jessie was a cross between a Welsh Spaniel and a Welsh Collie, so she was kind of like a sort of red, her torso was red, but she had like a sort of Spaniel face with sort of floppy, sort of reddish orangey ears. And she had a pink nose and she was absolutely adorable. She was a really cute, very, very friendly, soppiest dog ever, really. But yeah, so I adored her because she was there right from the moment I was born, so she was just part of the family and I grew up with her. She died when I was 15 and she was 16 because she was a year old when I was born. But she had to be put down because she had kidney failure, but she lived a very long, healthy life though. She didn't have any medical problems until she got ill at the end. So as I say, she was a very, very friendly dog, although obviously if she wasn't my own dog, I probably would have still been a little bit scared of her if I was out walking and I saw a dog like Jessie, because she was very frisky and would run very, very, very fast, although she was incredibly gentle. But obviously that's only because I knew she was gentle. If you didn't know she was gentle and you saw her running and you had a dog phobia, then you might still be a bit scared until you knew that she was gentle, sort of thing. I'm just going to put my hands in my ears because I'm really distracted by this noise, but I'll carry on talking. So yeah, so she could run really fast. Now, I think my phobia is wrapped up in a combination of factors. Dogs are unpredictable. They bark, and obviously, I'm quite noise adverse, and particularly unpredictable, unexpected, loud noises that come out of nowhere can really startle me. That's part of the reason why I'm scared of thunderstorms as well, and fireworks. I used to be absolutely terrified of fireworks when I was a kid. I still am to some extent. So yeah, dogs are unpredictable. They bark, they can touch you and jump up. And this is regardless of whether or not they bite. So my dog phobia isn't, sometimes people think like when someone's got dog phobia it's just because they're scared the dog might be aggressive. Yes, that is fair. Yes, I am scared the dog might be aggressive because I don't know your dog. But it's actually not just to do with that. It's also that I don't want a dog, they could be the friendliest dog on the world, but I don't want a dog jumping up at me and touching me without my consent. Obviously with my own dog Jessie it was different because, you know, I was in control of her and like she was trained not to do that anyway, but like it was different because like, you know, she was part of a family. It would be like say your mum giving you a cuddle or something. You don't want a stranger coming up to you and giving you a cuddle that you don't know, and that's like a bit like that. It's like these dogs, I don't know them, I don't want them coming up and touching me. It's all of that, so that's one of the reasons why I'm scared of them. Now, my mum was quite a nervous person around dogs. When we went on long country walks, because my parents were keen walkers, so often when I was a kid, my brother and I, we were dragged on these, not dragged, that's one word, but we were often like, maybe we wouldn't have naturally chosen to go on these long walks, but our parents were like really into walking, so we often went on these really long country walks. And yeah, my mum was a little bit nervous around some dogs. She would walk back when a dog was behaving, say, in a threatening, what she deemed to be maybe a slightly threatening manner. And this may well have rubbed off on me as well. My dad didn't have that. My dad was very, very laid back and carefree around dogs, but I picked up this slight nervousness from my mum. But you know, my mum didn't have a phobia of dogs. She was just a bit wary of some of the more boisterous ones. I mean, most of the time my mum was fine around dogs, so I don't think this provides the full explanation. There were a few incidents when I was growing up, when we went on our long walks. Having our own dog, of course, that meant that other dogs were probably more attracted to us or came nearer to us because of having our own dog. And there were a few occasions when dogs, as I say, behaved in slightly threatening manners. Like there's one time we were out on a walk and this dog kept on following. I was with my mum and my brother, and this dog kept on following us and like barking us. I don't even know where its owner was. And it was quite scary because we were by the sea and we ended up walking along this kind of promenade bit out, and you can see this dog just kept on following us barking, and I was like terrified. And it didn't do anything, it didn't bite or anything, don't know where its owner was, but obviously that didn't help and maybe contributed to my phobia, having some of these like few bad experiences like that. Now I am more scared of some breeds than others, particularly staffies, bull breeds and guard dog types, the ones that, you know, you might see in the news, like the ones that tend to display more dog-on-dog aggression, and have been instances of them attacking people quite viciously. I mean, obviously I know all dogs can be aggressive, all dogs have a potential to be aggressive, even a golden retriever raised wrongly could be aggressive, but these are the type of dogs that you tend to hear about. They also have a kind of rather muscular appearance, so obviously, you know, I'd rather, these dogs, let's put it this way, although a chihuahua is more likely to bite you, I'd rather have a chihuahua acting vicious around me than a staffy. My mum didn't particularly like those, so I obviously picked it up of her as well. I would say I'm least scared of golden retrievers and spaniels, although any dog can make me feel scared if it is bouncing and running around barking. So I mean, even a golden retriever if it's barking or bouncing around, I'll still be scared of it. Obviously not so much as if it was a staffy, but yeah, I would still be scared. Now staffies have a bad reputation, so I realise most are gentle. I understand, you know, if they're brought up correctly in the right hands, they can be very gentle dogs, as I'm sure you know, that's the case for most of them. But unfortunately, if they're raised wrongly, they can be the most aggressive dogs, and of course I've got no way of knowing when I see one how it's been raised, and because they are a fighting breed, you know, their viciousness can be particularly severe. And also, of course, like I say, how they look, and also the fact that if they are aggressive, the outcome can be very nasty. So when I see one, as I say, I have no way of knowing what its temperament is, and the breed scares me. Conversely, retrievers would better be gentle, not fighting dogs, so I trust their character a lot more. I don't know, this might be partly because I am autistic, and I do tend to take things quite literally, I take things to heart, but I do tend to take what I hear and read very much to heart, so I can't forget what I've read about staffies, what I've seen in the news, that will stay in my head, which is part of the reason why I don't watch good news anymore, because that's how my phobias often develop. As I'm very impressionable. And also, however, I have witnessed their dog-on-dog aggression. When I had my own dog, it was nearly always staffies that went for her. So I do know, you know, just speaking from my own experience, that it was staffies. 9 times out of 10, it was either a staffy or a related dog that went for her. No golden retrievers ever went for her, or other spaniels. It was always staffies, so yeah. And it wasn't pretty. Regardless, you know, staffies are known for their dog-on-dog aggression, this is a fact. So yeah, thankfully she was never hurt, not like seriously. One time a staffy type dog did bite her ear though, God. Yeah, just because she walked past it. But witnessing the sudden attack and Jessie's helplessness, like I say, she was a really gentle dog. She couldn't fight back or anything. Contributed to my phobia, because it wasn't nice, it wasn't pretty seeing this vulnerable, helpless, soft dog being attacked like that, and it traumatised Jessie and it traumatised me. Now, when I had Jessie and we were out walking, she did help me feel a bit less scared of other dogs, because they tended to sniff or approach Jessie and not me. So obviously this was kind of a mixed thing, because obviously it meant dogs did come closer to me, but at the same time they were less likely to touch me because they were more interested in Jessie. So she did make me feel maybe a little bit more safe when I had a dog. So therefore I made Jessie walk in front of me as my protection, although she was so gentle that she would not have been able to prevent a dog threatening me, but she helped. So as a child, as I say, I had no choice but to go for walks with my family in a country where dogs roam freely. When a dog approached, I would hold my parents' hand firmly or grab their arm, which of course they didn't like. My parents often told me off for that because they obviously got a bit annoyed because I was like pulling on them and I was like, oh, because I was really scared. But like I had to hide. Or I'd get them to walk near the dog, protecting me. My phobias definitely got worse with age, until I eventually, once I had more choice, I avoided dog areas altogether. Again, I don't dislike dogs per se. There is a little bit of a myth about people with phobias. It is true that some people who are scared of dogs will not like dogs. For me, it's not like I don't like dogs, because some dogs I can form real attachments to, and you know, I've even sometimes considered, oh, would it be nice to have my own dog? Obviously I'd have to overcome my phobia enough to actually be able to have a dog I feel comfortable with, but I don't dislike dogs, and I respect people's right to have them and everything like that. I really do not dislike dogs. Certain breeds, yeah, it has to be said, I don't particularly like, just because I don't like the look of them and because of their reputation. But I don't like dogs as a general thing. It really does depend on the type of dog, really. And, you know, if I've got to know their character, I know their owners and all that stuff to feel safe around them. For example, my great uncle Mick had an Airedale called Bella, who I was terrified of because she barked every time we went to get house. She was quite a big dog as well. They often had to lock her in to, like, they had to lock her into the study area so that I could actually go into the house because I was really scared. But when Bella died, they got a puppy called Sam. He was a border terrier and he was the cutest dog ever, and he was really just like a little cat, a kitten. And I loved Sam because he didn't bark so much and he really just behaved like a cat. You know, he could play with a bit of string. He was just like a cat, really. I did not feel threatened by him at all. I held him on the lead, I walked with him, you know, I didn't feel threatened at all, so it's a completely different thing. As an adult, my phobia varies. I could sometimes get vibes from a dog, like how dogs, you know, sort of body language. So if a dog is wagging its tail and looks happy and it's a breed I like, you know, it's kind of got its tail's wagging, you know, you can see it's not going to come near you. Sometimes, and this really does depend on my mood, and it also depends on how much leeway I've got to walk around it. So down narrow passageways, I nearly always turn back, even if it looks like a friendly dog, because there's no way to kind of escape from it if it does decide to touch me. But in like areas where bigger spaces where I can see a dog's like friendly and it's kind of under control, I can sometimes, if I'm feeling particularly confident, I can sometimes walk by it. Yeah. And but it really does depend on my anxiety levels at the time. But at other times, I can't walk by dogs at all, even the ones that look friendly, just because I'm in a really bad, my anxiety might be really bad and I just can't at all. I do sometimes try and force myself to walk past dogs if I'm feeling particularly confident, but unfortunately such exposure therapy has only helped me short term, and I've recently backtracked. Phobias are really hard to overcome, as anyone with a phobia will know. That's why it really doesn't help matters when people patronise you or make it out like it's all your fault, like hell. I mean, you know, no one chooses to have a phobia on themselves, so I can major random one, I'll get rid of it. Phobias are really hard to get out to